Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Theater of the Branded. I am Aubrey and I will be coming at you today with my Branded Chimera deck profile. It feels very good to be back to playing the deck after having been burnt out for so long on Branded. Good to be back to recording after having to take a mental health break and certain situations coming up, etc, etc. Before we begin, I do have some shoutouts. Primarily shoutouts to my girlfriend Jocelyn for playing this deck and making it look really cool. She's getting really good at the deck, so I'm very happy to see her progress. She helped me a lot with learning the deck too. Shoutouts to her for showing me how cool this deck was. And shoutouts to my local scene as always. Last thing before we begin, if you end up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as I upload more to continue to provide quality and informational content. I also have a Patreon if you end up really enjoying the video. There's some interesting choices here, but my Illusion Chimera ratios are pretty standard. 3 Cornfield Codal. Searches any card that mentions Chimera Fusion. If he's in the grave while you have Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, and your opponent activates a card or effect of the field that targets, negate, destroy it. Just a very good card. 3 Mirror Sword Knight. This is the best normal summon in the deck. Quick effect, tribute himself for cost, which means he can dodge targeting interruption, and to summon a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from the deck. And he also has a graveyard effect if you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast and he's on the field or in the grave. He can banish himself to negate a monster activated effect in your opponent's field. 3 Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. This is a search target off of Big Wing Berfomet, in addition to just being a good card to have in rotation. Starts your illusion plays if you open Branded Fusion. You don't really use his on-summon effect, you mainly use his graveyard effect for chain blocking and to add an illusion. 2 Big Winged. You don't want to draw this guy, but this card is nuts. On-summon adds a level 4 beast and or a Chimera Fusion, so you can add both, or one or the other. And then when you send to the grave as fusion material, targets an illusion in the grave and then summons it. 1 Master Tile Enchanter. I love this card because when I'm going second, this card enables me to OTK so easily. It's also just nice recursion for some of the things that are in my graveyard. You don't want to draw him, Big Wing Berfomet, and like a couple other cards in this deck you just don't want to draw. For my Branded, 2 Fallen of Albaz. I make use of Albaz very well in this deck, which is why I opt to run 2. Some other builds run 1, but I think 2 is standard. He's also an interruption on my list. He's Springin's Kit. This is searchable off Big Wing Berfomet, and it's if you have to start with Branded Fusion into Rinbrum, you can special summon her to grab Branded in white and go off for some plays. She can also unclog hands. 1 Cartesia. I am playing a small package of 3 Fusion Deployment and a Cartesia. She's just very good. Granguinal, dump Albion from extra deck, or dump Titaniclad in extra deck. Sets up either Retribution or an Albaz interruption on opponent's turn. She also is very nice for dodging certain target interaction. For Despia's, 1 Aluber, 1 Quem. Aluber mainly searches Branded Fusion, can search other stuff I guess if you need it, but Quem is here mainly to be summoned off of either opening if you already have Fusion, or off Titaniclad if you dump off of Granguinal. She puts Albaz in the grave and that threatens another interruption. Aluber's graveyard effect also does come up a lot. He's a very sticky card. Dark Magician. So this deck, the main thing I found it to struggle with is dealing with blowout cards. And not having an Omni Negate really hurt it, so that's why I'm running the Dragoon package, is so that I can put up a hard Omni Negate, mostly in sideboard situations where I know I'm going first, and I suspect my opponent's going to be on a blowout card like evenly matched. The goal is to put up a hard Omni Negate, and this is the best way to do it. Utility cards. 3 Fenrir. I play this over Patchwork Engine. I feel like the Patchwork Engine, while providing a Fiend in hand, is also a little cloggy. You're gonna really randomly brick on pieces of the engine, whereas with Fenrir, he special summons himself for free, provides a really strong interaction and immediate pressure to a board, as well as replaces himself in the hand. The card's just nuts, and it's just, in my opinion, better than the Patchwork Engine because this is less cloggy, requires less investment. For hand traps, 3 Ash. 3 Veiler. Why Veiler over something like Ghost Mourner or Infinite Impermanence? Ghost Mourner is a hard once and it's also restrictive. And if you draw Imperm off Guardian Chimera, then it really sucks because you're just not going to be able to use it. Whereas with Veiler, Veiler is actually a very good hand trap right now. And on top of that, it's a light target for Branded Fusion if you're in a pinch. And if you draw it off a Chimera, or if you draw multiple off Chimera, then it's still alive. As long as it's during the main phase, during opponent's main phase. Generally, the best hand trap you could be drawing off of Chimera. Because Droll also hurts you, which makes it really hard to run in this deck. Spells. 3 Chimera Fusion, Heart and Soul of the deck. Just enables everything. Enables Guardian Chimera, enables OTKs, enables setting up like floodgate monsters in certain matchups. This card is just bonkers, and the fusion effect not being a once per turn is insane. And then it also recurs itself, which is also crazy. This card is just actually nuts. 3 Branded Fusion. This starts your illusion plays if you're in a pinch, while also providing you access to 2 of the best fusion end board monsters that you possibly want, being Mirror Jade and Horror Dragoon. Just so much utility in one card. This card is still as cracked as it always was, and also still as big of an Ash target as it ever was. 2 opening. I don't want to play 3. I don't want to see it too much, but I see it just enough at 2, and it's 1 for each of the targets in the deck. Protection effect is very nice. 1 Branded White. This is for certain playlines. This is usually what you're searching off of Spring is Kit, especially if you have to dump, if you have to make Rim off Branded Fusion and dump the Gazelle. 3 Fusion Deployment. This is mainly for Cortesia, but in the middle of games or in a pinch or going second, you can use Deployment for Albaz. So it's not like it's just one use type of card, it's got multiple, it's got other applications. Or you can summon, if you open a bad hand, you can summon Dark Magician, and if you have an Albaz, normal summon Cartesia, and fuse the Dragoon and Albaz. 1 Called by it stops Ash, stops Droll, stops X amount of cards, and it also stops Shifter, which is no cross out though. It feels a little too unproductive. 1 Trap being Retribution. Recurs Branded Spell Traps is very good. But is also a Solemn Warning, which is very good. This is a nice endboard piece if you don't want Quem in rotation. Then for the extra deck. 2 Chimera, King of Phantom Beasts. Heart and Soul of the deck becomes Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field. Hand rips 1, and then has a graveyard effect during your opponent's turn. Banish him to target a Beast Fiend or an illusion in your graveyard and special summon it. 1 of the new guy, Baphomet, the mythical king of Phantom Beasts. On summon, he dumps a Fiend Beast or an illusion to the grave during opponent's turn. If he's in the graveyard, then he can banish himself to summon back banished. He's also Chimera, the king of mythical, flying king of mythical beasts on the field. 1 Chimera, the Illusion Beast. This is your main OTK card. This is pretty much all he's used for is OTK. I'll show you guys that line at the end of the video. In addition to summoning the side deck monsters, you can make him with 3 materials pretty easily to get 3 attacks. Turns at the end of the damage step. A monster's attack that he battles to 0 and negates his effects, and because he's an illusion, neither monster can be destroyed, so you just swing in for 31. 3 times and just kill them. Kinda nutty. 1 Rim Room, 2 Albion, a Lubellion, and a Mirror Jade. This starts your plays off of Branded Fusion if you're in a bind and didn't open any illusion and you resolve Branded Fusion. These are all options available to you for either fusioning, but you mainly send Albion to grave off of like Mirror Jade or Cookie, or off Granguina. Your Branded White also ensures you get access to Lubellion into Mirror Jade. Because Mirror Jade is still as bonkers as ever for a boss monster. Send for cost. 2. 1 Grangoyle and 1 Titaniclad. The reason I put Titaniclad with Grangoyle instead of the branded cards is because you're never using the branded cards for him. You're using Grangoyle pretty much to dump him unless you're in a situation where you want a Mirror Jade to send Titaniclad so you can get the Albaz in end phase, which is usually something you already have set up anyways. And then Grangoyle is just really good. Gets the Eluber off the board that you summon off opening. Also, depending on your build, can summon like Queritus and it's really good. Utility fusions, 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Draco Stabilion, 1 Magnum. Chimera needs no introduction. Draco Stabilion is just a good generic. And Magnum is honestly probably the most cuttable card in this extra deck. I never made it. I never found it coming up. Never had a use for it. This could be something like a Despian Queritus or something else. I personally, in this situation, I'd run either a Despian Queritus or a second Chimera over this because I just never made it, never found myself wanting to make it. It's like it has its niche applications like target destroying an Underworld Goddess or something, but that's really all it is. It's just removal is not as good as like Chimera. Last card, Dragoon. Omni negate, much needed Omni. Some decks just can't out this card. It's the time win con for me as well because I can pop something on my opponent's field and burn them. This card is just overall really nasty to deal with, in addition to being an Omni negate that the deck needs, which is why I play it. For the side could be adjusted probably as the format shifts, but we have 3 evenly matched. Best board breaker I think right now. Really good against Rescuers, which I think is the best deck right now. Blows them out of the water. They're forced to keep 1 card if they can't negate it. So usually that 1 card isn't going to do enough. Back row removal. Feather Duster, 3 Cyclone. So this Feather Duster is supposed to be End of Anubis instead, but I don't have an End of Anubis yet because my local store only had damaged ones, which is unfortunate. I'd rather keep the Cyclones over Duster because anti-spell's creeping its way back in the format. There's still Skill Drain, Rivalry goes in Tikaboo. And while I am running evenly matched, I want to ensure that I remove the Floodgate as soon as I can. If they choose to keep it because it hurts me, then I want to have the Cyclone available at all times to get rid of that Floodgate. That's going to hurt me. We're just going to flip this face down. King Tiger, Wengu, Chaos Hunter, and End of Anubis. I promise. These 3 are Floodgate monsters that you can actually set up using Chimera Fusion lines in order to summon on your opponent's turn to prevent them from doing an action. Wengu is very good into Pearly and very good into Flunneries. Chaos Hunter is mainly good against Dragonlink, but it also does hit Flunneries and Castra. End of Anubis is for Unchained or Tier or any graveyard deck, to be honest. Those are your Floodgate monsters. 3 Exisunk. I could just run Kaijus, but I mean this hits the Pearly, the little baby Noir, before it gets the chance to draw out a rank up, and they can't respond to it, but it also hits Abyss Dweller, which hurts the deck a lot. Also hits Wave King High Caesar and hits Exosister and other interesting matchups that show up from time to time. Just a lot of utility, and it not being able to be responded to is what makes this card just absolutely amazing. Also worth noting in like the Exosister matchup, if they shifter you, then they don't get anything back for it, they just lose. The last cards, 2 Druid's Worm and a Magnuma. This could just be DD but I like the Bestials as well for a lot of matchups. Because it puts the body on board, it gets rid of their card. This should be 3 Druid's Worm, hypothetically, but I don't actually own a 3rd Druid's Worm. So it's just Magnuma and 2 Druid's Worm. And these are very nice to have. These actually hit in a lot of matchups very well. I find myself citing these constantly. They're just that good. Now, as promised, I will show you guys the OTK line as well as the setting up your Floodgate monster line. So we're going to pretend only card we open here is Kodo. So we'll discard Kodo. Add Sword Knight. Normal Sword Knight. Sword Knight effect. We're going to summon Big Wing Berfomet. Berfomet effect. I'm going to grab Gazelle and Chimera Fusion. You're going to then fuse these 2 away into the new guy, King Berfomet. Chainlink 1 to dump. Chainlink 2 Berfomet, targeting Mirror Sword Knight to summon it. Chain 3 Gazelle. Gazelle can add you whatever you want. Well, add any illusion monster. Usually just grab another Mirror Sword Knight. And then you revive Mirror Sword Knight. And then you're gonna dump Master Tau the Chanter. So you can use Tau's effect targeting Kodal to summon it back. Use Chimera Fusion, add back to hand, because you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast. Then you can Chimera Fusion these 3 into Chimera the Illusion Beast. This monster gains 3 attacks because it was used with 3 materials. Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field, and since he's an illusion, neither monster that involved in the battle with him can be destroyed, but at the end of the damage step, reduces the attack of a monster he battles to 0 and negates their effects, which is bazonkers. And you just swing 3 times into that monster for game. So yeah, that's the OTK line. Let's envision how to set up now the floodgate monsters in your side deck. So this is going to look largely similar to this, just with extra steps. So let's say you want to side in King Tiger Wangu, and you want to set that up against Flunder going first. So in this case, we're going to start off with the same playline as last time. I'm going to go Kodal, discard Kodal, add the Sword Knight, summon Sword Knight, tribute, Perfumet. You're going to go ahead and grab Gazelle Chimera Fusion, activate. You're going to fuse these 2 away into... First, you're going to summon Chimera. Then you'll go chain 1, target Mirror Sword, and then chain 2, Gazelle, chain 3, Perfumet. It doesn't matter what you add here off of Gazelle. I'll add Mirror Sword Knight. Then you revive the Mirror Sword Knight, and then you can hand rip during opponent's end phase, which might stop the removal for it. Chimera Fusion, add back to hand. Activate, using away these 2. Into Perfumet. And then you go Perfumet effect in order to dump. And then you dump King Tiger Wangu off of him. So now during your opponent's draw phase, you banish target Wangu to reborn him. And there you got the floodgate against Flandres. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, if you ended up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing as I start to make more content. Thank you all very much for watching.